Well, welcome and thank you all for joining our the launch of our Magenta IMOCA Female Leadership Development Program. Offshore racing is one of the only mixed sports in the world, meaning that men and women are competing on the same playing field, nurturing fantastic foundation to promote gender equity in sports. Yet, there is still a huge gap in female representation, both on land and at sea, especially in leadership role. With this program, we aim to create new pathways to empower and level the playing field for women, as well as changing the mindset and the image of sailing. So we can all play a role in this journey, and we are really delighted to be part of this with along the Francesca Andrieu. I wish you a wonderful panel, and we speak after the panel. Thank you.
All righty. I'd love to welcome up our panelists who will be joining. We are going to just go over the format for today. I'm going to try to make a New York City speed round of so many incredible people, and they all deserve this stage and time. So I'm going to try to be brief. I asked our panelists to try to be brief in their answers so that we can get through as much content as possible. I want you all to be able to ask questions too, so I'm going to leave some time for that. We have two panels. And we have Frankie joining us virtually. Hey, Frankie, can you hear us? I hope this broadcast.
Hello, I think so.
Yay, it's all working. Thanks to this amazing tech team to make it happen. All right, so in person, we have a fantastic panel. Half are going to be talking about the future, okay, of leadership in the IMOCA class and our sport. And then the second half, we're going to be talking on an IMOCA Round Table. We have some really exciting special surprise guests. I'm not going to tell you who they are just in case they don't show up. They are out sailing today. They are doing their thing. So we've got women who are working and making time for everything and pushing everything in one day. That's women do. So I will welcome up do we have Lorraine in the building yet? Is she here, 11th hour reps or anything? I want to give them the space and the stage because they are really a big part of what's making this all happen. I will tell you that 11th hour racing involvement is really super wide. They helped us go to a school today to be able to exchange some sustainability learning with the New York Harbor School, which is fantastic. They also help make this program so that we can offer equal pay for women through the Magenta Project. Lorraine, can I pull you up on stage real quick? Lorraine, could I take you up on stage just to say hi? I'm going to pull you here, of course. So this is Lorraine, who works with 11th Hour Racing. If you want to just say hey and welcome, 11th.
Sorry, everybody, I was outside chatting. I'm Lorraine McKenna, and I'm the Director of Sponsorships for 11th Hour Racing. Hi, Frankie. We are so excited to be here and support the Magenta Project through our sponsorship of the IMOCA class. And this is wonderful to meet events like this and promote the opportunities for women in sport. We know the talent's out there. We know it's thriving and exciting. So these opportunities like this, it's just a great way for us to all connect and see how we can not only increase the chance for opportunities on board and on teams, but increase the equity on teams as well. So we're just thank you for having us and have a great evening.
Absolutely. Thanks, everyone. This is a community endeavor. So the Magenta Project really aims to work with the IMOCA class, 11th Hour Racing, World Sailing, all of the IMOCA teams to be able to help drive more inclusion. And our strategy to help drive more diversity is to bring women all the way to the top. So this whole program is about launch of the IMOCA Female Leadership Development Program powered by 11th Hour Racing. We're launching it today. We have some exciting pairs and mentors to talk about what that means. Can you find a mentor? How does that work? So we're really excited. And to kick off kind of the vibe for it, it's on my desktop and it's ready to go. So we're going to share screen and see how smoothly we can do this. but we'd like to, it's on the left side of the desktop if that works. If not, we can pull it up. All right, so we're gonna just get that up for you now. This video was produced in partnership with IMOCA, 11th Hour Racing. James Tomlinson had filmed a lot of these interviews I was able to take at the TJB. This team here, also Flora Hardout, who's not with us, she's on the Clipper race as an OBR. Lydia and Lauren have put together this video. The documentary will premiere at the Vendée Globe, but we have a little teaser for you to kind of set the scene of what we're really trying to do here.
The ultimate goal that we are aiming towards is not having to need any groups like the Magenta Project. We all want to aim for a world where it's completely normal for anybody to do anything if they're capable. But there are some challenges that we just can't overcome unless we change rules.
Everybody was saying no. It was like, you are too small, you are a girl, but I know I can be good. I really try to focus, like, I know it's a no for now, but it will be a yes.
There's quite a lot of work to be done, a lot of input from those of us who are here and those women who are going to be here in the future. Managed to brave up to actually doing things that I wasn't sure I was capable of doing to get on that ladder.
It's good to have sponsors, teams, having girls, women on the project. Not only us as sailors that keep the project going. Now we can see more women on the teams having big roles, and that's very important, and we can see that is working and we can make the difference.
I think we're getting there.
The good news is things are changing.
Times are changing, yes. Normally we are just seated waiting, and no, we need to move, and if you really want, just go for it.
People don't just open doors for you to walk through. Get a sledgehammer, make your own door.
So we have a great panel. I do want to do a little intro and just let Rosie know. Rosie just walked through that door without a sledgehammer, so appreciate that. Thanks for using the handle. Rosie just came off the water. She's going to join in our second half, so she's one of the promises that I made. I'm going to take you up on stage. Yeah, you didn't know that? Fantastic. All righty, so let's go with our first round. Let's have Hope Brauer come to the stage. Let everybody do their own introduction. We're going to do it in a fun way. So Serena Vilage, please come up. Next, Jane Millman, please join us. Jane has a great career, and she'll be chatting with us about all the things she's been up to, including working with an IMOCA team in Newport. And Cecile Andrieu is here. Welcome. And we have Frankie professionally positioned on the panel. Just so you know, the video, audio visual quality is top notch. And thank you for joining us. Let's hear a hello to make sure we do have good audio. Hear a hello from you, Anna. Frankie, can you hear us? Yes, okay, good. Let's just hear a
yes.
Hi. All right. All right, fantastic. So I'm going to ask all the panelists to tell us about their pathway, because this is all about, it's all unique and different, right? How do we get to where we are in the sport? everybody's in a different stage, but I'm going to pretend that we're all at stage 4 in our career, okay? Briefly, what was step 1, 2, 3? It could be opti, whatever. Mine wasn't opti, so I can't take that. You are at step 4, so tell us what's step 4, and then let us know what do you think in step 5. All right, I'm going to take you first, Paul.
All right, so I'm Paul Brauer, and I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for having me, Meg. I was a Magenti in 2020 when we were all inside our homes. So it was quite a nice experience because I got to meet everyone face to face without actually having to go anywhere. So thank you, Meg.
I wasn't there.
But and so I'll start with step 1. I started sailing at 19 at the University of Hawaii. I did not sail optis. I've actually never stepped into an opti. I have been an opti coach. I was terrible. Step 2 was I went from sailing FJs and 420s at university into the offshore world, Transpac Cup, which is a nice, fun downwind run on the west coast of California. And I started falling in love with offshore sailing. Step 3 was moving to the East Coast and becoming a professional offshore racer, a double-handed offshore racer, and honing my skills as a solo sailor and a boat captain. And then step 4 was being the first American woman to race solo around the world. So. Step 5. And step 5 is still under plans, meeting with sponsors and so yeah, I'm not entirely allowed to say. I'm meeting with sponsors, potential sponsors, and I mean I'm starting to love the IMOCA, but I'm also open to tons of other sailing. I'm not a one boat type of sailor because I don't know how to be. So hopefully around the world again.
I love it. Thank you. That's a great transition to Frankie, who is also not a one boat sailor. So why don't you tell us what's your step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5?
Hi everybody. Thanks for having me, even if I'm a bit far away. I would love really to be in person with all of you. But I'm racing, so I'm happy to join remotely. I thought about it because it's trying to like keep it in few steps probably is not really part of my past and present and future career. But it really started with for me, step 1 was really the massive support that I had from my family. You know, even if I was a girl, they never told me that I couldn't do it. And for me, it started there. And we always talk about allies and men supporting women's, and my dad is the biggest example of a great ally. You know, he never thought that I belonged to the kitchen, but also because I'm a terrible cook. But and that for me, that was really step 1. And then I had big dreams, and I kept really follow my dreams, and I always dreamed about the Olympics and to be at the Olympics. And so probably step 2 is definitely my Olympic path with the laser, the 49er, into London and Rio. And then it was a big switch. Really wanted to make not just a hobby, but really a profession, and getting into professional sailing. And offshore is what I really love. It's a mix of everything that I love. It's competition, but adventure, and I love really the mix of both. So that probably step 3, where I really got into my first ocean race in 2017. With with big dreams, with a small bag of foul weather gear, massive amount of drifts, and close to zero English. So probably a few of you in the room might know the story, but it was pretty tough with an English speaking team and trying to understand what's going on. And yeah, I assume that right now I'm on step 4, and I'm really proud and honored to be the skipper of Upwind by Merconcept, supported by 11 Hour Racing. And for me, this is a really big step into a leadership role and taking on more responsibility that I'm not afraid of. And step 5, I'm not sure. I will be in Barcelona for the America's Cup with American Magic. So that might be still step 4. And my next dream, long-term goal is definitely be the starting line of the Vendée Globe 2028. I guess there will be more than step 5, I assume.
Not so easy, but we try to simplify. So I want to keep this fluid. I'm going to ask you a question, Frankie, because you did bring it up. So you have so many different boats that you've raced on. What was your experience as a crew member on the IMOCA? And a follow-up, do you feel that the platform on the IMOCA is more suitable for female leadership because of the machine that's working with us? And is there a difference between the boats, like the Ocean 50, America's Cup boats, IMOCA, where women may or may not have the right machine in order to be able to do the job?
I believe that IMOCA got to a place where you can build a boat and you can design a boat that is, made around you and your what your needs are. It's a rule box, so you can you have to stay inside certain rules of the boat. But the ocean race was different because we were in a team configuration. So it's about using the potential of each crew member and the skills and the strength and the weaknesses in the smartest way possible. So of course, I'm not as strong as a big guy that is 1.80 and, with a big chest. So it was really not probably the smart option for me to grind. So I was trimming the sails. And the IMOCA definitely allowed a different configuration, and in the solo configuration, it definitely allowed a lot of adjustment to the ergonomics of the boat. I believe that's probably one of the class that got the farthest, where we can see someone like Sam racing the same level as the guys, beating them, and that's pretty powerful. The American's Cup, I truly believe that the AC40 is a platform where strength has pretty much nothing to do with performance. It's really about skills, how you drive the boat, how you maneuver, how you stay on the foils. We're just sitting down with a small wheel in our hands. So honestly, it's probably the most less physical sailing that I ever done. But then there are other boats like the big America's Cup boat. They still need tons of power to make things running, and there's probably no space for us. And I still believe that we are in such a lucky sport where we can be different. We can be bigger, smaller, heavier, lighter, and still find a place in the industry where we can perform at our best. If my little girl dream was to be a gymnast, not be super successful at this point. So I always try to take the positive out of it, and we can always find the best option for who we are.
Amazing. Yeah, and I think that finding the right platform is really great, and also understanding that inclusion does start back at the drawing board for a lot of these boats, and that's something that boat manufacturers should also take into consideration. Cole, you found a great platform with the Class 40. I'm going off script, but I want to just chat. Like, how do you think for the Class 40 that has been able to propel your pathway and improve yourself?
I think that with the Class 40, like, to go back on design, this specific Class 40 that I had, it's an Owen Clark design. It's from 2008, so it's a vintage. And the boat was designed for a 6'3", 300-pound man. So I spent years designing it to be easy for me to do all the maneuvers, because he was paying me to be on the bow to do every sail change. So I had to make the bow easy. And since the winch is up there to do all the hoists, you shouldn't have any friction in any of the system. As being, I'm 100 pounds, I'm 5'2", I'm quite small. I don't like the gym. So I like to use my brain over, bronze. And so I designed the Class 40, and then once the funding had come through for the Around the World race, I worked with riggers to make sure that everything was as easy as humanly possible to sail. I should never be completely exhausted at all, because it's a 130-day race, and so there really isn't that much food on board. So you should be able to design the boat for your own size. So I hope to continue with that onto the next campaign.
Fantastic. And as Frankie mentioned, the IMOCA class allows that, and it comes to the drawing board where we see smaller men too achieving great things. But then when you sell the boat, and you're like, oh, okay, this is made to size. So Cecile, let's chat about what's your pathway, and then also I'm going to add it to the next question in terms of for Mayor Concept. Tell us what your role is with the team, and what is the team doing to create other pathways for the people involved in your team?
Okay.
Multiple questions.
Multiple questions there. I would say that my first step, so I've been lucky enough to grow up in a, I would say, a maritime family. So I've had a role model from both my father and my mother in terms of sailing and offshore racing. So I don't know if this is my first step, but maybe prior to the first step. And the big first step for me is that I've had a professional career in a completely different universe in international business for the French Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So that was really a big step for me in terms of discovering many, many other stuff. Being most of the time the only woman in many, many meetings in France, but also abroad. And I also had a great mentor, which was a man at the time, for whom it made no difference whether was a woman or no, and helped me a lot. Then I would say that second step for me, even though I've been racing and sailing forever in dinghies or hot-handed races, etc., was to do the mini transat in 2021. So clearly it's something that changed my life in the way of knowing better what I want to do, what I'm able to do, to know better also what were the barriers for a woman to sail at a high performing level, etc. And then the third step was the opportunity to join François Gabard and his company Mer Concept in 2022. And so I joined François to lead the ultimate project SBR Lazartigue. And then very shortly, my role changed so that now I'm leading all the rating projects on Mer Concept. So we have the ultimate SBR Lazartigue, also the IMOCA Massif, and the great upwind project skipped by Francesca. And so this is clearly the great third step for me, because it's really Mer Concept. It's a fantastic platform to give life and birth to long-term commitments that people have had. So I would say that's I don't know if it's the third or fourth, that's where I am now, actually. So I'm really enjoying the ability that we have with Frankie, with the other skippers, with such a company like Mer Concept to create new projects and with the help of 11th Hour Racing, that we can really imagine a new shape for the ocean racing world. And next step or fifth step, I don't know which steps we are. For me, it would be maybe it's a very long-term objective or dream. This would be to see a Jules Verne trophy with a 50-50 crew. So I've picked Jules Verne because it's a record, so it's not a race. It's not something you're going to be obliged by an organizer, by the federation, or by anything to have a mixed room. It's so when this will happen, for me, it will mean that it's obvious that it is needed and performing to have mixed room. So I would say that long-term objective is to lead that kind of projects.
Amazing. And so how is the Upwind by Mayor Concepts team? How have you guys created the team, or what kind of team do you want to create so that women, that's not just Frankie going on and becoming skipper, that you have other crew members also advancing?
Yeah, the idea. So, well, as I said, at Mer Concept, we have a monohull project, but also multi-hull. And when we looked at the ocean racing world with both Elemental Racing and Frankie, we figured out that, yeah, there are some projects in progress in the monohull world, even though the numbers are not increasing very fast for the past few years, I think. And maybe we're reaching kind of a ceiling at some point. But in the multi-hull, it's been worse. It's been decreasing all across the past 20 years. So if you look at, for example, the Route du Rhum or all the big races, there's been no women on multi-hulls since, I think, Hélène McCartier in 2005 for the Round the World Saint-Exupéry. So we felt that this platform, the Ocean 50, was really where we would have the bigger impact with structures like Elemental Racing or Map Concept. So that's why we picked this one. And the idea was, of course, not only to have one woman at the end, but also to kind of create or recreate this pool of talent of women being able to go offshore racing on multiple. So this is the idea of having a selection, having a group, not only one person on this boat. And I think it's a great platform to do that. But they raced with 5 people today with great results. Congrats, girls. And yeah, so the ambition is more to create a group. And of course, it's only at the end, it's only one boat, one skipper. But I think the legacy of such a project is also we will be so happy if our kind of alumni would have their own projects, and we want to have a long-term support with them, even outside of Map Concept, outside of Clean, outside of this.
Fantastic. Yeah, so the community of support is really key to continue developing talent, you know, not just at the highest level, but throughout these teams. Jane, you have done a lot of talent development, training. Give me your brief 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, whatever you want to do. Okay. And then I'll follow up with a very interesting conversation. You know, military leadership. We're going to chat about that. So give me your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah. So my first step in my career really goes back to my foundation of my first 2 jobs. The first one being a waitress in the service industry, and learning to really appreciate what those in the service industry do for everyone. And learning how to get in and do the dirty work and work hard, because the harder you worked, the more tips you got. And then the second job was I actually worked for West Marine for 15 years. Started that job in high school and carried it all through college, post-college, through the recession, and it was the job, and thankfully I was able to stay with that. But the biggest thing I learned from that was from a manager, one of my first managers, she told me that if you don't know the answer to a customer's question, don't lie, go figure it out. Be naturally curious. And so from that really drove me. And I'm very naturally curious. I'm really good at trivia. And so from there, step 2 led me to create opportunities or seek them out. And that led to me developing an executive director position for a nonprofit sailing organization in Tampa, where it was all volunteer run, and I was coaching there at the time, and the volunteers were great, but I could see that we could take it to the next level. So I was there for 5 years and saw measurable growth in the organization and steady navigation moving forward. And then from there, it moves over to other jobs in the sailing industry. And step 3, I would say, is giving back. I have found so much fulfillment in giving back to the sport, and that is in terms of really involved with U.S. Sailing. I've served on national faculty and committees. I've served as a mentor for the Magenta Project for the last 2 years, and on the board for high school sailing for the last 5 years now. Wow. And just giving back to the sport to make sure that there's pathways going forward for both girls and boys, really in the youth side of things. Step 4, I'm the executive director of Brendan Sailing, which is a nonprofit sailing organization for kids with learning differences. And so really targeting using sailing as a pathway to teach individuals self-confidence, independence, and the same thing that we all experience as sailors, but giving them the opportunity and the time to learn, and so that they can experience the same joy that we all have. And prior to that, I was at the Naval Academy for the last 3.5 years as the basic sail training director. So it's the military side of things. And then step 5 is kind of open. Meg's been a part of this conversation for a while. So like I said, seeking opportunities or creating them for myself. And so really looking forward to kind of like an open pathway for step, or an open door for step 5.
Awesome, I love that. I'm going to pick on you for the U.S. Naval Academy time because it's super interesting, right? We go from like a military complex, naval, maritime, which is very male dominated. We do know that there's women in there in high leadership positions. However, there is a certain leadership style, a military complex style, command-oriented. I've taken a test. I'm a command-oriented person. It works well on a boat, not via text message. And also sometimes not always received well, female to older male or vice versa. So understanding your leadership styles is really core and key to how you can deliver and work with your team. So tell me about the military leadership style. Is there a space for more feminine leadership? I'm going to say it, soft leadership skills, we can call whatever it is, more community oriented. Is there space in the military for that? Are you seeing it? And what can we bring that into boats?
Yeah, great question. So I think, so the U.S. Naval Academy is a very unique space. It's where we're developing leaders for the Navy and the Marine Corps. And so they're graduating as all officers. So they are the future of the Navy and the Marine Corps. And so I'm going to shift it from a view of feminine or soft and make it more of a human leadership, really getting to know the individuals. At the Naval Academy, I was managing a team of 80 individuals, 22 civilians and 58 other newly graduated seniors from the academy, and they're commissioned officers. And this was their first job out of school. And for some of them in real life, this is actually their very first job. And so they're getting the firsthand experience of having somebody over them, which is myself as a civilian being in charge of officers, which is a very interesting dynamic. But the big thing for that is, yes, there's times when you need to be hard and fast. And like I've always said in teaching instructors, is that those are usually your emergency situations. When you know you need to get the clear message across, there's no time for discussion or a collaborative style of leadership. But then there's times where that's the human side, where you need to get to know the individuals on your team and really make sure that they feel heard and seen, because then they have the buy-in to the team themselves. And so it's a big team to get to know, but I've had 12 weeks to do it, and the relationships that they build makes them better officers.
I love that. Thank you so much. And Frankie, we don't want to keep you all night, but I do want to have a final question for you. You can sign off and hang on, whatever you'd like. Along this line, you have been under both female skippers and male skippers. Have you noticed a difference, or is it a personal thing? And what kind of leader do you want to be for your team?
I guess it's a human thing, right? I've been with male skippers and female skippers, and I enjoy most of the time both, and maybe sometimes I did enjoy 100% of it. And I guess it's quite normal, and normally that's how also leader has been seen. You know, we're not perfect, so we can't pretend that every leader is perfect and every person under the leader are perfect either. I definitely love collaboration, so that's what I'm trying to do now also with Upwind, and work together with the team and find each other strength and really give responsibility to the crew members that are really strong in their own areas. But then I definitely agree, at the end is the responsibility of the skipper, especially when it's about safety, when it's about making sure the team is in a good place, make sure that we have the right thing in place. So I'm happy to have the final call on few things that I think are really important, and I can keep the group, the team, and the crew safe. But overall, you know, I'm a good listener. I listen a lot. If we're not working together on the boat, things are not really working. Especially now on the Ocean 50, I'm driving really far away from everybody else on the boat, and yeah, I mean, it's about trust, and I really trust my teammates. I know they're giving 100% every day they were going on the water, you know, and there will be mistakes from everybody, and it doesn't really matter. You just learn from it, and you keep pushing, you keep getting better, and it's a work that we need to do together.
Thank you so much, Frankie. You can stick around if you want to. I also understand it's 6 hours from now, so you can also go to bed. Thanks so much for joining us and your insights.
It's still really bright in Brittany.
Oh, hi. Maybe some drink. Thank you so much, Frankie, and feel free to stick around or head out. I want to go, last but not least, Serena, I didn't forget about you. I want to hear about your pathway and how this team came. We have a team on stage, right? We're talking about leaders and everything. We have a team on stage. So chat about your pathway personally and how you guys then became a team. And then I'm going to ask a question about remote communications and stuff that Frankie just alluded to. So Serena, it's your go.
Yeah, hi. So I'm Serena, and I'm currently a sailmaker for North Sales. And step one, I guess similar to Cecile, I grew up in a sailing family. So at a young age, I was thrown into boats and sailed dinghies and keel boats and raced in high school. And then kind of always knew I wanted to be in the marine industry to some capacity. And after high school, I took a gap year and then worked in a boatyard, more hands-on role. And when I went back to school, I did an internship at a local sail loft, which I immediately fell in love with and decided that that was the path that had my name on it. And I kind of stuck with that. And that was when I was about 19. And while working at the sail loft, learning mostly repairs, modifications, we did so much do manufacturing there. I made a lot of connections in the local sailing scene and got picked up by Bell's 24 team that raced internationally. And it worked out great. And before I knew it, I was traveling all around the world with them, racing in Miami and Helsinki and Sardinia, and where I met Cole at an L24 event. But then through that team, I made connections with the Netflix program and other One Design fleets. And so then I kind of got fast-tracked into the One Design world. And I was continuing working in sailmaking when I was home. I don't know if that's step 2 or 3 or what it is. But one of the steps, then I moved. I was living in Washington State, which is where I'm from, and I moved to Newport, Rhode Island, 2020, basically, right before the pandemic. That all happened, so then I wasn't working at a sail loft, and so I focused more on deliveries and some small races that were happening, and making more connections in that sailing scene. And then when the world started to open up again, I applied for a job with North, and started working for them on the floor again. But I showed interest in the design side of things, wanting to know more about what goes on behind the scenes, like how are the sails made, what is the whole process? Because I would always see them after everyone would destroy the sails, and I would have to piece them back together. So and about 6 months ago, I guess this is step 4, I was offered a position in the design department with North, kind of as an entry-level design role, file processor, working with existing files and modifications and learning the design software. And so I've been, I immediately said yes, and I've been doing that ever since. And I think, and I was just able to go to Sri Lanka actually visit the facilities about a week and a half ago. So I'm still recovering. I don't know what time it is right now. But that was pretty amazing to see one more step of the whole big picture process. It's pretty incredible. And I think step 5, vaguely, I would love to graduate to official sail designer and maybe one day design sails for an remote program, some offshore team. That would be cool. Might have to move to France for that, but that's okay. There's some people here. Yeah. And how did you guys meet up? Like, where did these paths cross?
Besides the military, what's up with class 40?
Well, it all started. It all started with House 24. We were there's 2 or 3 U.S. teams in Sardinia at the Worlds, and Cole and I were basically the only girls there, and we were training partners, and so we had no idea who each other were, but the guys on the team were like, here's a girl, there's a girl, you got So of course they actually were right, we totally hit it off, but at first I'm like, who is this person?
Actually, she
no,
you hated me. I did talk a lot.
But then we spilled all of our secrets
on the rooftop with Afro
and then became besties. And then he was the captain of the class party at the time.
Yeah.
And as our schedules kind of aligned, she would call me up for deliveries whenever it worked out. And I would, when the boat was up in New England, I would help out with some yard work, or the boat was in Florida. I was in Florida. I would stop by to say hi for lunch, and then I would be there for 4 days working on the boat.
That's true. She's cheap labor.
Find an apple and a sandwich, I'm happy. And then, so that all happened, and then eventually, yes, she was able to do the race, and it was just a few months prior to that, we were doing a delivery southbound, and a brand new sail for the boat showed up, and it was too big for the boat, and we were supposed to be leaving 2 days from then. We're like, well, this isn't gonna work. Like, this is our gift. This is our only head sail. So I packed it, we took the sail down, packed it up, and I drove it back to New York. And with some of the measurements we took, I did a full recut overnight. Took, I don't know, 7 hours, maybe. Well, set it down a while. Packed it back up, drove over, put the sail up 3 in the morning when it was like 20 degrees out. Cole was locked.
Fahrenheit.
Yeah. So, and then, yeah, went for a sail. And so I think at that point was kind of in my mind where I made myself unofficially your sail maker. Yeah, and then
great thing to find people who can fix them as friends.
Yeah. So the 2 of us taking this class 40 down the coast, and it was really stormy. And were we in the first week? Yeah, I guess it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So part of the mast rack ripped off, and we couldn't get the sail down. So I had to hoist full aloft with her little helmet on, pitching, which is swinging around.
And a hammer.
She has a hammer, which is not.
Where's the media person?
Yeah, I do have a couple of photos. And yeah, we just had to work together to take it apart and cut the sail down, and we reconfigured, moved some of the slides around, rebuilt the batten box, and then so we were able to rehoist, but then we could only be in third reef to not sail the compromised part of the track. So the delivery ended up taking us almost 7 days.
And then you planned the globe solo race?
No. When I first met her, I remember she told me, she's like, I'm 30, I want to race around the world. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Like,
I'm 29, by the way. Yeah, I wrote this. But I will ask a question though that can relate to everybody. Not everybody can relate to being solo in the middle of the ocean. I work with remote teams. Who works with remote teams here? Anybody? Anybody? Yes. All right. You're in the middle of the Southern Ocean. Where were you?
Rhode Island.
She was in Rhode Island. All right. We got Starlink. Thanks, Elon. To get you guys all together, how do you lead being alone on your boat virtually when your whole team's away from you? How do you still maintain a leadership role? And does your leadership change virtually, you in the middle of the ocean, versus Cole on shore going a log through?
That's a really good question. I think one thing that I found very quick is that, so I am the CEO of Brauer Ocean Racing, and I hired half men, half women for the team, because I believe very strongly that we should have all ideas. We had very multicultural, a lot of people spoke multiple languages. I knew that we were going to Spain, so we had to have people like boots on the ground in Spain. And I also wanted to have my best friends in my back pocket. And I think what was so important is in the beginning, when I first hired people, some of those people didn't end with me in the campaign, and I, a few times, had to have the conversation. You cannot have Cole Brauer ocean racing without Cole Brauer. And I stood my ground on that quite strongly. And no offense, men, it was only to the men that I had to have that discussion. But I was very confident and strong, and even the men on my team were also confident and strong. So some of those people did not complete the race with me. I'm still close friends with them, but their ethos was not the ethos of the team. So when I went offshore, I knew for sure that my team would have died for me the same way that I would have died for the team. It's that type of mentality. It's a very close-knit community. So when I ripped a sail, I called Serena and I asked her advice, and she at first said, you know, go big, go home, throw it up, like whatever, we'll fix it later. And then I showed her the conditions and she said, oh, maybe not. Because it was blowing 50 knots. But so I think remotely it worked quite well, but I had to go through the stressful situations of finding the right people quite early on. And so it's just keeping very supportive people around you. And if they don't believe in the ethos of the team, it's okay. It doesn't mean that they're not your friends. It just means that they're not a very good fit. And we are just going to find people that are a significantly better fit.
I love it. And from a team, and we're going to just wrap this conversation up. We got the IMOCA panel coming next, but from a team perspective, right? And you're virtual, you're her caretaker out there, right? And at some point, you're the leader when it comes to sales. When Cole wants to put that sail up, and she said, Cole Brauer said that sail goes up. What does Serena, a sail expert, say?
Well, first of all, Starling is just a blessing. It was like, wow, she was calling me and it was as if she was staying the room over, and crystal clear, FaceTime if you needed, no problem. So that made the remote part super easy. And luckily, like Cole knew and knows her boat so well and all of the failovers. Only a couple new ones in the suit that she had some questions about for crossovers. But really it was more, she would call me and talk to me like about her thoughts and what this current situation was, what the forecast was. And it was mostly me just listening. She was bouncing ideas and I would put in some input here and there. And if she said something crazy, then shut it down. But for the most part, she's pretty collected. And yeah, a lot of it was mostly just being a sounding board and a second voice if she needed it. Because at the end of the day, it's her program. She got herself there and she can do it. It's more just having the reassurance of the people around her to make sure she has the confidence to move forward in a decision that she's basically already made.
I love it. We're going to wrap up with this group here. Key points and takeaways. First impressions with women, right? They will be your best friend. So really be mindful. This is a group and community-oriented. These are team-oriented people, community-oriented people. We're all here to support each other. And I know a lot of times women can be very competitive with each other, especially as we start rising. So continue to support each other all the way to the top is what we ask. And that our theory is that more women at the top will bring up more diversity and more women with women as leaders. And they're very community-oriented mentalities. So thanks to this first group. Grab them. We got questions for them later. I want to go to the IMOCA panel just to keep us kind of like very tight on the production online. But then we'll do Q&A loops, and this is a networking session. So go up, tell them how much you love them, ask some questions for advice, all that jazz. Frank, you can stay on if you want. You can stick around. You're part of the IMOCA panel too. You won a race on IMOCA, so you qualify. And thank you so much to this panel. Let's give them a round of applause. Our next panel, I'm going to find out who's on it myself. All right, let's see who's here. Jean-Sébastien, still with us? Thanks for being patient and sitting surrounded by women. What an awful time you always had. Is it just you and me? He's in here. You can stay hydrated, it's fine. For those who don't know, Sam won 3rd place into the for the Transat 6, so congratulations. We have Rosie. Come on, Rosie. All right. Do we know everybody up here? You guys know everybody up here. All right, so we have Jean-Sébastien, who is the team manager for BB Racing, which is Charel and teamwork. So that's 2 teams, 1 skipper with a male, 1 skipper female team, and lots of mixes in between. So we'll chat about that, and I would love to hear your pathway. Sam Davies needs no introduction, so I'll let you do it yourself. But I know I asked you the pathway question already, and Rosie. So ladies first, sorry. Sam, why don't you give us your little step process? What was your first steps? I think I had you on video earlier. Your pathway, but we know where you are now, coming on the podium into IMOCA Transat races, which we love to see. So how'd you get here, and where are you going? First place.
How did I get here? I've been here for a while actually, sailing IMOCA, and so it's a big privilege to be able to skipper my own IMOCA, and I've been doing that since 2007, 2007, and kind of evolved with the class, which is really interesting and amazing, and now I have this really cool boat initiative here, which is a new boat. It's the first time that I've had my own boat built for me. And that's like a mega step, I guess, through the glass ceiling, because that's one of the things that's kind of been missing in female sailing is the good female sailors and getting good backing. But it's hard to break that or make that jump to get a sponsor, persuade a sponsor to back you on a winning project and building a boat. And there haven't been very many really since maybe Ellen with Kingfisher and Waddy and Viva, but that was a long time ago. So I'm kind of proud. Where I come from, I have an engineering degree. I actually kind of did normal stuff when I was young, but I was lucky to have sailing parents, and sailing was my hobby, not really competitive sailing. I was actually a competitive synchronized swimmer when I was young, and sailing was just fun. And maybe that's why I'm still doing it now. I always swore that I would, if I ever woke up one day and felt like I was going sailing just to earn money, then I promised myself I'd stop and do something else. So I'm still here. And I was very lucky, if we're talking about pathways, to just finish my studies when my role model and all-time sailing hero, Tracy Edwards, who had done the Whitbread with Maiden when I was at school, and that was just like incredible. She actually was putting together an all-female crew for a Jules Verne Grand World Record attempt. And it was just when I finished my studies, and I hadn't really got that much experience, but there weren't really many women at the time that had any experience that were willing to get on a crazy, gigantic, scary, and probably quite dangerous multi-hull with a bunch of girls to sail around the world. And so that was a door that opened for me, and that's probably thanks to that I'm here doing what I'm doing now.
Amazing. And coming back to our last panel, right? Cecile and Upwind by Mare Concept talks about exactly that. So we hopefully through that program we have some more Sam Davies coming out of it. And Rosie, why don't you share with us what's been your pathway into the sport?
Yes. Well, thanks first of all for having me here. So I think I had an interesting pathway, maybe a bit different than from many other sailors. Yes, I started sailing when I was young, when I was 7, but I'm not from a sailing family. So was basically me looking at the boats, looking at the little optimists, and telling my parents, what are these boats doing out there? And I was lucky enough that they both been optimists. And at one point I loved it. I said, I like to do races, right? The small races on the local lake. But they said, okay, that's too much for us. Like you have a brother and you have a little sister, so we can't come with you to other regattas. So they said, pick a different sport. So that's what I did. I played field hockey on national level, and then I played athletics. And when I was 18,
I was free, so I decided to travel to Australia, and I found a job on a beautiful yacht there. And for me, that was the moment that I just fell in love. I fell in love with the sport, and I felt so good, and I felt so free, and I was like, this is whatever I'm gonna do in my job, this is what I like to do in my life. And yeah, that's how it went. I traveled back to the Netherlands, finished my studies. In the meantime, I found a sailing school. And very quickly, I started sailing regattas. And then I joined the sailing academy for 4 years. They didn't bring me in because I was good or talented. Well, they didn't bring me in because I had experience. They brought me in because I was so driven, and I was there always too early, and I left too late. And I became skipper of that boat very quickly, and then I got into the scene. And yeah, when I finished my studies, I had some offshore experience, and said I like to do the ocean race. That's the Mount Everest in cruise sailing. Everyone told me you were not able to do it because you are too old or you have no Olympic background. I told my mother, and she said, "Do you believe that you can do it? Go for it, and we'll support you." And for me, that was the biggest motivation and the drive. And my family, they had no idea about what this is, and but they support me big time. And that's for me the pathway. I sailed around the world last year in the ocean race with Team Alicia, with Brauer as skipper. And then I got a job offer from Holcim, the Team Holcim PRB, to be skipper on their boat, on IMOCA. And now I'm making my way to the ocean race in 2025. And yeah, lead the team there.
That's super exciting. And that's the first time on the IMOCA to have a female skipper for the ocean race team, right? For a team race, the first time on the IMOCA.
Yes, I hope to join you as well.
Oh, I love that.
I'd like to.
Please.
I have to find the money to do it. But
all right, we'll make some calls.
Yeah,
you've heard that, New York City. Sam, the podium sailor, is looking for support. And we will get back to that. Sponsors play a huge role in supporting women, and we will get to that. Jean-Sébastien, why don't you tell us about your pathway and how you got into the sport?
Good. Yeah, good question. I'm not a natural born sailor, so I came into the industry roughly 20 years ago. I'm born in Canada, so far from the sea in Montreal. And I had a family member, Bruno Dubois, was still involved in the industry. Who kind of told me to come and join us for the summer, and I didn't know what to do, so I went during my engineering degree, and that led to what I am today. So I had the chance to join an MacArthur after as a young technician, so worked with her during the summer, during the degree, and then. Sorry, yeah, we did. And we worked again together on the Oman Cell project with Senegal. So I was more involved in the leadership or the management aspect of it, and grew from a young technician to a team manager. So I have a pathway that is a bit different from the sailors or people we've heard before. I think it's a good way to show people that, and ladies, that there's other pathway to the sailing industry than being a natural born sailor. I think that's what I could say. I think there should be more men in the panels as well.
I think so too.
I feel a bit lonely.
They were invited, Conrad Coleman, so let's see. Okay. So I think he was going to join us. So you are part of our new program where we help to mentor people. So, and you also have a Magenta alumni on your team. Well, actually multiple, because Justine is part of the mentoring program as well as your boat captain. So what we understand is that all teams are on different diversity pathways, right? Some are just at the beginning, some are really advanced. And teamwork is kind of like out of the mold, right? You guys have a female skipper, you have one of the only boat captains that are female. So do you think that that's just special to your team, or like how would you describe the way that your team leads beyond just gender goals?
Well, I think it came fairly naturally. We didn't say we're going to hire ladies for the teamwork in Magenta Project. We were looking for boat captains, and we received 10 or 12 applications. 3 of them we did some interviews, and one of them was Leah, and she was selected as the best profile that came across against 2 men, I have to say, but still, we chose her on what she could give the team and not because she was a woman. So that was very important. And on Teamwork Team Snap, we have 50% women, 50% men, and it's not a decision. It just came naturally, and I think it's showing that the industry is evolving, and that we don't need to push it to make it happen. It just because there's more project, there's more opportunity, and there's more ladies joining the industry. I think that it's just normal that it comes to that. And within the UA scene, we have up to 35% ladies in the team, so there's still some work to be done. But we can show that it's possible, and let's hope we're going to deliver some great results. And Justine is promoting all of this. It's in her nature, but she's not pushing it either. So it comes very naturally.
Amazing. I love to hear that. So Sam, your recent transat cycle was your best result on IMOCA to date. Is that correct? Congratulations. Round of applause. Say is your key to increasing your performance over your campaigns. Like, are you setting goals? Did you set a goal for a podium? Like, how do you lead your team towards more performance year after year?
Yeah, it's not easy, and I think goal setting is something that we struggled with our new boat 2 years ago, and we had some issues with the build, and it was really hard year, and we came out of that with lots of questions. What should we do? How can we improve? How can we not kind of make this trip us up? And one of the things that came out was goal setting. And I think it's something that in the IMOCA class, I've been in this class now. I've been lucky enough to be in this class for over 20 years, and maybe until very recently, all you needed was to have a reasonable sponsor, a kind of half decent boat, and you were pretty much guaranteed to finish in the top 5 because the fleet was so small, with a bit of kind of natural elimination with what happens in our transit races when we hit things and break things. And then suddenly the IMOCA fleet just exploded, and we ended up with we've got 30 boats, and so it was really hard to say, well, where am I supposed to finish in this fleet? And felt like we were a bit lost. So we actually did do some goal setting, and that was something that helped quite a lot to kind of see. So we said, okay, well, there's the boat, and then there's me, or us, should I say, as a team. And it's the same, so you can be up against some other amazing boats that maybe don't have a skipper, or have a skipper who's less experienced, and so you can kind of aim to beat them, or vice versa. You can have a really amazing skipper on a boat that's not quite as good as yours, and so we kind of analyze all of that, and so to try not to say, oh yeah, we've got a brand new boat and we can win, and because we don't want to trip ourselves up either. So it's okay. So we're really, as a team, we sit down together and we write down all the names of all our competitors and their boats, and we judge whether we think our boat is better than their boat, or the same, or not as good. And then we do the same with me. So am I better than the skipper, the same, or not as good? And it's really cool because it's we do it together with the team, like not anonymously. So that I know what they think, where they think I am, and I think it's a really good team building session as well. So we all know when we were kind of on the right page, because they've built this amazing boat as well. It's their boat, and so I'm the one that is lucky enough to sail on it. But the race is our race. It's not my race, because I can't do that race if my boat won't stay in one piece across the Atlantic. And one of the reasons I came third in this race is because I did have some issues, but I barely had to get the toolbox out because my team had done a really good job. My boat, more or less, well, actually no, it didn't hold together. There's a whole heap of stuff broken in it, but I know it so well that like I trusted them. I knew that with all that stuff that's broken, I'd still make it across to the other side because I know my boat so well, because we've worked so well together. So the key is this trust in your team and what they've done, and it's frustrating because I'd love to be able to do everything on my boat and be there and hold the screwdriver for them be there every single day, but I also support a charity that saves kids' lives. I have sponsors. There's a whole heap of stuff that I can't be there every day, and so I have to trust my team. And yeah, it's our race. It's not my race. It's not my third place. It's our third place. And yeah, so it's a kind of very cloudy answer to your question, but also it's really important. And I think I came in at the end, but what Cole was saying is so true. Is surrounding yourself with people who you trust 100% and who know who you are for what you are as well, because ambitions, or we can even get frustrated in the IMOCA class if we think that you can win, but maybe we don't have the biggest budget, we have a great boat, I'm not the best skipper in the whole fleet, and we all have to be on the right page, and my team respect me for who I am and how I sail and what I do, and that way they help me erase the weaknesses and make the strong flights stronger to perform.
I love that. I'm going to shift gears a little bit here, and I'm going to share a statement, and I'll leave you guys all to read between the lines in it. Last year, Folsom decided as a sponsor that they're with women. They also decided to make you, in the future, the leader for their team. What role do sponsors play in more inclusion? Is it really up to them? And are they forcing it? Are they really driving it? The money behind it? They want the woman as a leader? Or is it everybody's role? And where do sponsors fit in? And are we going to see more shift if more sponsors buy into it?
I think it's a good question. I think it's a bit of both. The sponsor is very important. The sponsor has a big say. And indeed, also decided to make a shift and actually to give women a chance. So at the moment we have 2 skippers, Nicolas Lundgren, who's focusing on the Vendée Globe, solo around the world, and myself focusing on ocean races. But yes, I think sponsors play a big role. But in the end, it's I think we see more women coming up, but it's the whole industry is lifting up. And for example, in my position now, I can do whatever I like to do with the team, and after the Vendée Globe, of course. So instead, Vendée Globe is pretty in the French scene. Almost all the boats are based in France, and I really see it as my mission to bring more diversity into our sports. From origin, I would say I'm more from the international offshore sailing world. So in the open boats, and for me to step into IMOCA, it was really a culture shock. It was a different world, and I think we can learn a lot from both worlds. And that's my intention, to bring these worlds together, but to create more diversity into our sports. And that's what I try to do with the team already for the Ocean Race in 2025, to see who can we bring into the team, and actually what Sam is saying, to really have I think your team is an example for many teams. To me, the way you work with your team and the connection you have with your team as a leader, as a skipper, I think it's super cool. It's not really normal. I think I can say it like this. I think you're one of the rare things to do it like this. But that's my mission. And I'm glad to have a sponsor like Team Holcim PRB who are supporting this mission. So I'm pushing quite hard for the diversity, and they only raise the flag like, wow, it's fantastic that we can support your industry as well to bring more female and more inclusion. Because in Holcim itself, it's getting more and more, and there's a lot of female leaders who are really cheering for more inclusion and diversity.
Awesome to hear that. And Sam, kind of like a follow-up, Rosie set me up really nicely. You have a values-based campaign sponsor, and how do you think that relationship with that sponsor drives your team, drives you as a sailor and as an individual?
Massively. It's a real motivation to sale or type of a purpose, I guess. So for those of you who don't know, my project Initiative Care supports a French charity called National Chirurgie Cardiaque that helps kids who are born with heart defects in countries where they can't get the surgery they need because of the countries that are poor don't have the hospitals and the equipment. So the kids are brought to France and the charity pays for their surgery in France. They're looked after by host families whilst they're there, and then they go back to their families and most of them lead a completely normal life afterwards. So it's an amazing charity to sell for because I'm a mum, I have a kid who's always been really healthy and I've been really lucky, and I think you get even more touched by seeing kids that don't have, that have been really unlucky in life. And so yeah, it's an incredible thing to do, and it feels sometimes when you do professional sport, it feels a bit selfish because everything's around you and trying to win. So you do everything the best this, the best that, and which is an amazing thing to do, but it feels sometimes a bit selfish. So it's great to feel like now when I sell, my sponsors donate money in return for more followers on social media. So we're setting off a campaign called One Click, One Heart, which will start actually at the start of the New York Les Sables race. And so for every new follower on their social media, my 3 sponsors will donate €1 to charity. And then if that doesn't raise enough money, they'll say, okay, for every comment, for every share, for every like, and so it's win-win because they get lots of followers and the charity gets lots of money and we save lots of kids' lives. Every time we get €12,000 in the pot, then that's another family that's going to get a phone call from Paris, letting them know that their kid's going to be able to come to have their life-saving surgery, and that makes, well, for me, it's incredible to be part of a very massive. I'm a very small part of a massive chain that helps these kids, and for sure, it's. I have 3 different sponsors. They're very different companies. They don't always get on with each other, and sometimes it's complicated. But for those of you who also have multi-sponsor campaigns. And the thing that keeps everyone together and keeps everyone on the same page, and even for the team, sometimes in the team it's not, even though it looks like it sometimes from the outside of an amazing team, I do have an amazing team, but we have bad days as well. And the fact that when we have bad days, we just say, look, what are we doing this for? And we're doing this for the kids. And the same with the sponsors. They have that same common language, and whenever there's questions about what logo goes in the boat and what events are we going to do and what colour hats I'm going to wear or whatever, whenever they're not all in agreement, then we just sit down and say, look, what are we doing this for? We're doing this to save these kids' lives, and it's an amazing reset. And for me, when I'm offshore, for sure, it's an amazing motivation because when you're having a bad day and everything's broken, and like 2 p.m. Justine overtakes me, and I think I'm never going to be able to fix the main that's broken, and I just look up and see there's the painting of the kid on my main cell who Nayla she's called, and she has already been saved by the project, and that kind of reminds me of why I'm there and what I'm doing it, and just tells me to shut up and stop complaining because other people have got a lot worse things going on in their lives that didn't necessarily, I chose to do what I did. So yeah, for sure, it's an amazing project. I'm really proud to be part of it, and I think hopefully more and more projects like that should be able to support charities, and I think what's important for me as well is previously or originally this project was set up as a real kind of communication, no real sporting ambitions project, just to communicate, share, and to raise money, and now we've turned it into a project that's capable of getting on the podium in an Oscar race, and that's for me what is important for me because it will persuade other people, who want to win and who want to get good results, that it's actually possible to share a little bit of your performance time to a good cause as well.
Amazing. And I have just a final kind of question from me, and then we're going to open up to everybody and bring the other bits of the panel, whoever's left, to come back up. But Jean-Sébastien, you're a team manager for 2 teams.
Correct.
Correct. So And we see that sponsors drive a lot of the team ethos, right? And what is the mission, kind of why are we all here? How do you manage a team with two different sponsors? Is there different ethos between the two teams, or have you been able to create something above that?
There's definitely ethos that are different between both sponsors. And in fact, we have 3 sponsors because there's Charal Teamwork and Team Snap. So we have a mix of everything. But we're trying to, yeah, I think trying to overcome that by communicating, sharing with them. They want a great story, so that's what we're trying to offer them. The aim of having 2 boats is to be even better in the bigger team than we could be alone. So that's the aim that we have internally. We share everything between both teams. And I think that creates more value in terms of performance for all the sponsors. So that's a bit the ethos we have internally. I think, yeah, there's definitely challenge, but at the end of the day, we're all there to win races and make it a nice project. So I think if we think like that, we're all going for the same aim or objective.
Awesome. That's great. That's what drives everybody here. I want to pass it over to the audience. I know I've been talking a lot. They've been talking a lot. We can bring up some more of the panelists too if you have any questions for this group up here. Just also so you know, for the IMOCA Magenta Project Female Leadership Development Program powered by 11th Hour Racing, we have the video that went out, we have a press release, and we're really excited to share the development of this. Cole is part of our program. We're super excited to have her. Lindsay as well, who's here. And her mentor, I believe, is Serena here as well. Yeah, excellent, still here. So yeah, we please go and meet other Magenta people too. There's people who we couldn't fit. We have tried to fit everybody on stage, had to do 2 rounds, but still we have even more in the audience. So let's give a round of applause for this group. Hey, everybody back home. Thanks for joining us. Thanks to this entire group. Thanks to all of our sponsors, the IMOCA class, 11th Hour Racing, the Magenta Project, everybody who showed up here today, all of our panelists, incredible people, men and women who support this cause. And we really do hope that, you know, some things that you heard here, you can take back to your teams, your businesses, and that we can continue to drive more women straight to the top. So thanks everybody for coming.